Good morning, everybody. My name is Carolyn Fox and I'm the Chief Nurse at University Hospitals of Leicester in the UK. I'm really sorry that I can't be with you in person today, but COVID, of course, has got the better of many of us in terms of travel. I hope you're having a really great conference. And the purpose of this breakfast meeting this morning is for Kerry and I to talk you through meaningful recognition and how we've made it work in the UK. And I'm going to build on some of the things that Kerry's already talked about in terms of the research and how you make this happen in the real world and pull that policy into practice. So it's important to have organisational recognition. We all know that and we all recognise why that's important. The psychologists will tell us that recognition builds resilience, that pride builds resilience, and that compassion builds resilience in our nurses. And at what time would we not need resilience more than right now, post-pandemic? So this isn't going to happen by magic. The role of the chief nurse is absolutely crucial in organisational recognition. So don't underestimate the role that you're going to play in making your nurses feel valued, building resilience and making meaningful recognition an integral part of your organisation's day-to-day business. So we've heard from Kerry, and the purpose, as I've said already, of this presentation is to how we can build policy into practice. I think one of the things that I always say when I'm in the UK is that there is key strategic thinking behind this. So there are many organisations and many people in them that think meaningful recognition is perhaps a little bit fluffy-feely. But actually, as I've already said, key strategic thinking builds resilience and is really important in terms of wellbeing and attrition of the nursing and midwifery workforce. You'll note there on the slides, I've also said that it includes nursing and midwifery excellence. And what do I mean by this? Well, what I mean is we, of course, have to learn from when things go horribly wrong, but actually we need to also learn when things go brilliantly right. So celebrating the efforts of your nurses and the efforts of your team is an integral part of the journey to nursing and midwifery excellence. Now, I'm a great extrovert, as many people who know me will say. So it's really important that we have fun in this journey. Meaningful recognition should be loads of fun for you, and it should be loads of fun for your nurses. And of course, I'm going to take us back to that all-important pride. It's so important right now that we have pride in nursing, pride in midwifery, and I'm going to take us back to that clinical psychology research, which tells us it builds resilience in our workforce. So there is a genuine evidential base behind meaningful recognition, as well as the things that Kerry's already spoken about in terms of the attrition and keeping your nurses where you want them, working for you. So I'm going to touch on a subject which perhaps not many people dare to talk to chief nurses about, and that's the chief nurse values and behaviours. I once sat at a conference and I heard Lorraine from Australia say to a group of people that she felt it was the moral obligation of a chief nurse to provide a positive practice environment for their workforce. And that's why this is top of this slide now. I genuinely believe that it's my moral obligation to have an organisation that recognises nurses and midwives and actually has meaningful recognition at its heart. So this tone is set at the top. Without a shadow of a doubt, you have to role model this every single day. And you'll note from the next bullet point down, I've said that this has got to be relentless and unswerving. I came to the first Pathway to Excellence conference in the spring of 2016 in Philadelphia. And I was really honoured. I genuinely can't remember the gentleman's name, but I remember nobody's name, who came from Disney. And he spoke about the strategy at Disney. And he talked about communicating and recognising your workforce on a daily basis, a weekly basis, a monthly basis, a quarterly basis, and annually. And this is something that's really stayed with me, that recognition should be every single day, with other elements built in throughout the year. So you'll note then the next bullet point says recognition when and where. When, anywhere. Where, everywhere. It's really important that as I go back to that third bullet point, you have to be relentless and unswerving in building this into your organisation. You have to build recognition into everything that you do. And of course, perhaps remaining on the subject of Disney, it's really important as the chief nurse that you let it go, because your teams need to recognise each other. I have a workforce in my organisation of registrants of probably 5,000 registrants and about 2,000 healthcare assistants. How could I build meaningful recognition and do that as a single person? So as the chief nurse, you've genuinely got to let it go. And I'm going to say to you, if you do, it's contagious, perhaps not a popular word after COVID, but in a good way. We need the teams celebrating teams. It builds camaraderie in spades, services developed, pins, educational celebration, senior nurses present and involved and recognising their teams, and actually social media goes mad. So, just some examples of what we've done at University Hospitals of Leicester. The teams send thank you cards to each other. My challenge when I talk to people about meaningful recognition is usually leave today, go and buy a pack of thank you cards and send them out to your teams, whether that be something that you hear that they've done on the grapevine or whether it be something that you see in practice. Recognise and say thank you to your teams, because actually they will then start to say thank you to each other and embed that all-important, meaningful recognition within the organisation. I said earlier, it builds nursing and midwifery excellence. This is one of our wards that's achieved caring at its best status. And again, balloons, a plaque, badges for all the staff. The Cavell Stars, we're very fortunate in the UK to have an organisation, a foundation that celebrates the life of Edith Cavell, and they distribute stars to nurses and to midwives and healthcare assistants who have done a great job. Take the opportunity. The more recognition, the better. This next slide illustrates some of the examples of my senior nursing team on Twitter when they're celebrating and praising their own teams, an essential part of them being present and involved in that process. And the teams develop their own recognition awards. You'll see here from this slide, Star of the Month. And this is what I meant by let go. It's fine. It doesn't matter that the organisation doesn't necessarily have any involvement in this. This is the front line taking charge and the front line demonstrating meaningful recognition to each other. One of the things that I wanted to say to you today was about reciprocal recognition. I'm sometimes not really sure quite how to articulate this, but I get a real sense that it's important. If you build recognition into your organisation, if you do it in a meaningful way, then it's reciprocated. So here are some little examples on this slide of things that I've received of the chief nurse. I like to think of this as we have closed the circle and that recognition is embedded in our organisation. And finally, for us, the pinnacle. Recognition from our patients and families through the Daisy Award. And there are some pictures there that I'm very proud of my teams receiving their Daisy Awards. I've said this is the pinnacle, and what I'd like to leave you with is a short video of one of my patients and one of my nurses talking about why the Daisy Award and why meaningful recognition is so fundamentally important.
So I nominated my nurse Pri for her incredible, light-hearted approach, but serious approach to the care that she gave me during my stay in hospital. Her personality made it so easy to connect with her and really did help my recovery process throughout my time in intensive care. The presentation itself was very emotional for me and my family and for everyone that was there attending that day. Knowing that such an incredible nurse was getting the recognition that she deserved.
My name is Pri. I received a nominated award. So when I heard that I was nominated, I was shocked, I was surprised, I didn't expect it whatsoever. As it settled in my mind, just pure elation, pure proudness. I just felt like I've achieved something. You know, yes, I'm a nurse, just like many other women, and men, sorry. And I just felt like a patient actually recognized that we actually are trying our best to look after them. It just only cemented that I had made the right decision to go into ITU. I felt proud. I was working with a good team, made me more dedicated, more focused, a bit more patient-centered in their experience. Because that, for me, is every day, but for them, it's everlasting. Because that's their moment at their most weakest. I was there to provide them with comfort, regardless of the outcome.
It was wonderful to see Pri so surprised and shocked, knowing that I'd made a difference to her in the same way that she made a difference for me. The process helped me to deal with the very traumatic part in my life, and it gave such good closure to me and my family, just to sort of close the door on that chapter of my life and coming out better from it. It showed me that even through tough times, you can always find 10-15 minutes to try and help someone else. That's the beauty of, I think, the Daisy Awards. So, massive thanks to Pri, and a massive thanks to the University Hospitals of Leicester, which I don't think, without their help, I don't think we'd have this little one here today.
No.
Oh dear.
How did I feel? I felt so proud and privileged.